Hi there. This video, which is actually the 6th in the series on Breathsavers, is how to properly fit a breathsaver. Not glue it, that's next, but this one's fitting. So let's go over some basics. And again, just to remind you, this is a piece-art or reedplate. It shows you there's a breathsaver on one side that's with the riveted part of it where you see the reed, and then on the other side is just the opposite. And why are they there? To increase air tightness of the harp and seal the edges of the reed to the reed plate so air can't rush in when you're playing the other reed on blows and draws. Okay, and this is what a standard reed plate looks like, and this one has been prepared and cleaned. Okay, so fitting of a breathsaver to the reed plate. Everything's important. It has to have a certain amount of hang over the edge where it's going to glue, so there's enough room to glue that breathsaver. It has to be the right width to cover the reed slot, which most of them are. And then it has to be the right length. And fortunately, if you have a breathsaver which is too long, and that oftentimes happens because people don't have a complete set, and let's just say that's what the end would look like. You would use a pair of scissors, and you would cut this back here, this one. But then you'd also, there's two layers, you want to cut the other layer back too, about the right amount. What is the right amount? You're going to need about 2 millimeters of overhang for the gluing part, and you're going to want about 1/2 millimeter of overhang over the very end of the reed slot. Let me point that out to you here, what I'm talking about here. The reed breathsaver is going to go here. The edge of the part where it's glued is going to go no further than here. Over here you want an overhang at this point over here by about 1/2 millimeter, and it does have to be perfectly lined up, totally straight. It's not so easy to do that, okay? But we're now talking about fitting. We're going to go into the gluing part and how to control that windsaver or breathsaver as you put it down, but that's the next video. Or maybe 2 from now, depends on how much detail. Okay, well, let's come down with the camera now and take a look at a harp that's actually being worked on. Okay, now we'll take this reed plate and the containers having, the little envelopes having breathsavers, windsavers, have a number on them, and let's see what this one is. This is a 19. And you can see that the clear part, which will go to the bottom, is a little bit longer than the other part, the upper part. It's kind of hard to see that. Okay, so let me go ahead and just kind of see how we're doing on the fit of this, and I'm going to put my trusty glasses on here. And what I'm doing is seeing how much overhang I'm really going to need. This is too big for this slot. And unfortunately, this whole harp needs to have breathsavers or windsavers. So this one actually is a good fit. Pretty good for the biggest reed. Now, what I'm going to have to do, so I'll come show you this. Okay, now, that's too much overhang on the far end. Okay, so even this reed is just a little bit too big for this particular first reed slot, so I'm going to put it back in the envelope, and I'm going to go for an 18. And let's see if it should be just about right. And I kind of get them out like that. And let's see how this one's fitting. Okay, bring it down. That one's perfect. Okay, now I'm going to bring it up and show you. I will lay them down in the position they're going to be in, but over to the side a little bit to check all the fit parameters. And you can see that the end, the overlap is just a 0.5 millimeter, and back here, that's about how much I want back there. About 2 millimeters overhang this way. Okay, now another question is, people say, you know, how can I handle a breathsaver effectively? The best way to pick them up is to lick your finger, and then the stiction, these are so light, the stiction's enough to lift it. You can certainly hold it with your hands very, very, very gently. But I will tell you that if you use tweezers or pliers or any tool to pick these up, you will probably ruin them, and they're very, very easy to crimple. And if you take a look at this one, again, you'll see that the upper layer, the clear coat, the colored part is a little bit shorter than the clear one, and that overhang is about right for the biggest reed on this harp, but I wouldn't want that much overhang of the lower part on the higher pitched reeds. So basically, what you do is, you know, if I have a bunch I have to do, then I'll fit a bunch. So I know that this one is going to go into that position. So I'll put that up here, ready to go. Now I know the next one's going to be a little smaller. So let's see if this is a little bit smaller here. And that still looks too big to me. So I'll go to this one. And I kind of pour them out when there's a whole bunch. Grab it like that. And you can certainly drop it back and forth. That's not a problem. And then we go. And I'll lay the end that I want to be free. And then do the other end. Now this is interesting that this one has just barely enough material to glue. And I would actually rather have just a hair longer to work with. I want a little bit more room to glue. I'll show you when I'm happy with it again here. This is one, this is an 18. Okay. I'll bring it over to show you. You can see that. That's how much overhang it should have at the free end. And then up there, I've got really too much. So this is an example where I'll cut. Because one of them was a little bit too big, one of them was a little bit too small. So, the way I do this is I use a pair of precision scissors. And I'm going to just snip off a little bit. And then I'm going to come in here and take off a little bit of the colored one too. Just like that. So I have about the same proportion of clear to colored as it had before. And then I can come back down here and lay it down and see how it's gonna work. I would rather use this on the next smaller reed because I ended up, it's a little bit too short for here, but it's okay for here. So this guy goes over in this position up here, and now I'll go ahead and grab another to try and fit it properly. So I'm very, very careful, and I'm really taking my time. Again, another test of this one. It's just a hair long. It's just a hair long in there, and I'm going to cut less off, and I'm probably just going to take off a 1/2 millimeter. Right like that, a very small amount. And I'm not going to cut the colored one back because I didn't really change the shape very much. And I lay it down into position here. And this is what I'd call a perfectly fit windsaver. And I hope I can show it to you. If you look at the left side, you'll see it overhangs on the left this way. My left, probably your right, 2 millimeters, the part where it'll glue, and the other part sticks over about a 1/2 millimeter. That would be proper fit. So this one is correct, but I do notice that the end did not cut totally square. And I'm going to go ahead and just square it off so it's perfectly square at the end. So now I've got 3 windsavers properly fit. So again, on the end that you're going to glue, this part, it has a little dot on it. The 2 halves are glued together at that point. You'll want to have about that much, okay, available to glue. And then on the other side over here, the free end, when we talk about its relationship to the end of the reed slot, what we want is very small amount, 1/2 millimeter of overlap, 1/2 millimeter. So that's kind of the way that one fits these. And in this case, I'll go ahead and fit an entire, half, or, the one side, glue them to the other side. Then I've got 2 more sides to do because this is a full repair. Next, gluing.